Hi, welcome to the Bookish Quilter, where we talk about quilts and we talk about books. My name is Barbara, and today I'm going to give you the next block for the block of the month. This is the block that inspired the block I'm going to give you. I was given this by a friend who was destashing and gave me a bunch of blocks she had received in a block of the month swap, and this is it. What I did was I simplified it. This center portion over here is actually 4 half square triangles. I did it as a square in a square. And this piece here, which is 2 pink squares and 2 purple squares, I did that as 1 pink rectangle and 1 purple rectangle. My colors are a little different. Instead of the pink, purple, and the pink and purple print, I used a black print with red and gold. I used a red polka dot and a solid gold. Now this is what you'll need to cut for your block, and I will post it in the description below. But of your black fabric, this is the fabric that is used in the center square and the corners of the block. You're going to need 1 6.5 inch square and 2 4-inch squares. For the red, which is the pinkish color in this block, you're going to need 4 2 by 3.5 inch rectangles and 8 2-inch squares. And for the yellow, you're going to need 2 4-inch squares, 4 3.5 inch squares, 8 2-inch squares, and 4 2 by 3.5 inch rectangles. Again, it will be in the description box below. And now I'm going to show you how I put the blocks together. The first thing I'm going to do is take all of my yellow squares and draw a diagonal line on the back of all of them from corner to corner. Once I've got that done, I'm going to take my 2 larger squares and put them right sides together with my 2 print squares. These are the 4-inch squares. And I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch from each side of that line. I'm going to stick a pin in there to hold them in place. Once I've got that all done, I'm going to cut them in half on the drawn line. And then this is my method for trimming. If you have a better method, feel free to use it. These are being trimmed to 3.5 inches. They're 4-inch squares. So what I do, I take a 3.5 inch square of paper. I cut it diagonally in half, and I tape it to the corner of one of my rulers. This has to align up perfectly with the corner of your ruler. I then just align the edge of the paper, not the tape, to my stitch line, and cut whatever hangs over. And that way you're doing it in one step. You do this before you open them up. You don't press and you don't open. And now I'm going to trim my pieces. I now repeat with my other one. Cut in half and trim. Now I'm going to take my remaining yellow squares and my big black square, and I'm going to pin two of my squares rather, to opposite corners of the black square, like this. You want your diagonal line to go like this, not from the corner of the black square in. You want it to go across. I'm going to just stick a pin there, and I'm going to do the same for the opposite side. Now I'm going to stitch on the line, not a 1/4 inch away. I'm going to stitch directly on the lines. I'm now going to trim a 1/4 inch outside of the line. That's a 1/4 inch towards the corner. You could use a rotary cutter or regular scissors. Sometimes scissors are faster. And I'm just going to finger press. If I were doing a lot of these, I would get up and press them, but to just do one, I'm just finger pressing. Now I'm taking my other two, and I'm going to do that to the remaining two corners. And there is your center unit. Now I'm going to take my rectangles. I have yellow rectangles and red rectangles, and I'm going to sew them together in pairs along the long sides. Once I have those all done, I'm going to take my 8 red squares and 8 yellow squares and sew them together in pairs. You're going to sew a pair of squares to each side of your pair of rectangles, so the colors alternate. Once you have all of your squares and rectangles joined into units like this, you're going to take 2 of them and sew them to the sides of your center unit. You see you have the yellow corners here. You're going to put the yellow up against that like that, not like that. The color of your corners is going to be the color of the rectangle that touches it. So you're going to put one here and one on the opposite side. And once you have that done, you're going to press your seams toward the center. Now you're going to take your corner units, your half square triangles, and you're going to position them pointing out with one of these between. Again, yellow at the bottom because the yellow is going to touch your center unit. So you're going to go like this. Yellow and yellow, and sew them together. Now that you have your strips sewn together like this, you're going to press your seam allowances to the outside. In other words, towards the half square triangle units. Once you have your rows all pressed, you're going to join them into the block. And here is your completed block. For those of you who live in southern New England, I'm going to be in 2 quilt shows very soon. This weekend I will be at the Narragansett Bay Quilter Show in West Warwick, Rhode Island. This is a new venue for this guild. It's at the West Warwick Civic Center on Fountain Street, and that is April 27th and 28th, 2024. Next weekend, which is May 4th and 5th, I'm going to be in Springfield, Massachusetts for the Pioneer Valley Quilter Show, and that will be at the Springfield Elks Club. Again, that's Pioneer Valley, May 4th and 5th. So my booth is under my business name, Six Gables Designs, and I will be there both days of both shows, so stop in and say hi. Now, on to the books. This is a book haul rather than a book review. I got 3 new to me books recently. 2 of them are advanced readers copies, which if you don't know what those are, they are books that the publisher sends to bookstores and book reviewers prior to publication. They're a paperback version of the book that is not put out for sale. And sometimes people who work in bookstores donate them, or the workers themselves can keep them. And I was able to find 2 of them recently. One is House of Trelawney by Hannah Rothschild, which looks like it's going to be a fun kind of satirical read that is probably loosely based on the British branch of the Rothschild family, who have some rather quirky individuals, including experts on fleas. And the other is a translation from the Italian, The Hummingbird by Sandro Veronese. And then the third one is a 20th century American classic, An American Tragedy by Theodore Dreiser. If you've ever seen the movie A Place in the Sun, it's based on this novel. So I'm looking forward to reading all of them. And I hope to see some of you at the shows. And if you please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.